Hi, everybody. Welcome to another chat with Roberto. Roberto, as you probably know, is the founder, creator, and overall magician of the QZ app that we all love and use. Hey, Roberto, how are you?
Hi everyone.
It's good to see you again. For those of you who don't know, we did do a longer chat a few months back where we got an
Yeah.
overview of QZ. So like the history, where it came from, where it's going a little bit. I thought this would be a great opportunity to sort of revisit some of the questions that we probably still all have, catch up on where QZ is, see if Roberto's had any sleep since we last talked, because we were all a little concerned about how much work is being put into it, how it all rests on his shoulders. So I think there was lots of questions about that. So I've got a few questions just to sort of start us into it, but we can have just a free form chat as we go along, just about QZ, maybe indoor fitness in general, and where everything's going. I'm going to start with a quote because it was interesting to read this quote on one of the user groups, I think on Zwift. And I think it really does sort of lead nicely into the sort of first question, which is, and I'll read it from John Olson, and it says, I bought the QZ app a few days ago. Virtual shifting works perfectly with my Kicker 4 and Play controllers. I get the gear indicator in the Swift app and everything. This does not feel like a workaround at all. It's the best $6 I ever spent. Garmin, we won't. Wahoo, we can't. Roberto in Italy, hold my beer. So can you maybe explain what virtual shifting is and why it was so important?
Let's try to go back when everything started because, as you know that I started QZ with spin bikes. So at the very beginning, trainers like Wahoo, Tax, and some other trainer wasn't present in the QZ the compatibility list. So uh, a couple of years ago, QZ was just about spin bikes and treadmills. So when I had the idea of virtual gearing, it was because when I was riding on Zwift, Zwift was asking me, for example, to do a step hill, so something that maybe I can't afford because I wasn't so I didn't have the preparation or I didn't have the time. So I would like to make it easier, for example. So I thought about it and I say, hey, but I could do this because actually I could try to reduce or increase the effort that is coming from Zwift, like something like a gear, something like a virtual gear. So a concept that I orientate from a real bike. So I added a tile in the QZ where you can increase or decrease the um, the heel received from QZ. So sorry, from Zwift. So the inclination from Zwift would be reduced or increased based on that gears. And this was for spin bikes, for every spin bikes. Then when QZ also introduced the compatibility with the FTMS trainers, I implemented for them as well because the same concept is valid also for the trainers, and it's actually what Zwift introduced last year. It's kind of different because with spin bikes the only variable that you can handle is the resistance. So QZ is doing a real-time conversion from the Zwift inclination to the resistance. So what I did is adding also the gear variable in this algorithm. Instead, on the FTMS trainers, there is a facility because you can change the wheel diameter, so you can virtualize the wheel diameter. So in this way, you can reduce or increase the effort using the same inclination. So at the end of the road, the concept is the same because you are applying a modification to what the application is trying to ask. So, for example, Swift or MyWash or TPV. Uh, But the concept inside the engine is different because from one side I'm applying it to the resistance, to another side I'm applying to the wheel diameter. So it's different inside QZ, but from the user point of view, the result is actually the same. And yeah, for example, the funny story about the Wahoo kicker, because Wahoo implemented the virtual gearing only in the Wahoo kicker version 6, because they said that they didn't have the storage space inside the firmware of their trainer. But actually, I guess it's just a market move because they had already inside the algorithm to do so. So what Kuzet did is just using that part of the firmware to set the wheel diameter and so give virtual gearing to all of them.
Do you ever get like calls from Wahoo saying, what are you doing?
Nope, not at all, actually.
because
But
because you're
I
right. I
guess
think you've circumvented some of the things, the restrictions they just put on just for to sell more product.
yeah. Yeah, because I guess for them, that is always a little thing that they should never worried about. But in the end, right now there are more than 1,000 user with Wahoo Kicker. They are using a Wahoo Kicker with Swift. Wahoo Kicker is something that it's already compatible with Swift. So imagine that a user is using QZ for a trainer that it's already compatible with Swift is it's unbelievable for me. For example, 5 years ago, because you should needed this, but right now also with QZ you can customize every gears. You can create your own preset of gears. So this is adding more and more customization to the Swift experience. So I guess it's unbelievable from my point of view.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly become, known even within the Zwift. I notice now in the Zwift forums a lot that there's talk of QZ and some of the features that you're talking about. So
Yeah.
you are known. I mean, and that's only
Yeah.
really I've seen in the last 12 months maybe, when people are starting to see that you can add all these features into legacy hardware and give them update essentially their hardware into something new. That's great. Now, we talked a little bit about FTMS. I think a lot of people don't know what it is. I have only a vague understanding of what FTMS is, but it is now becoming, I think, a standard. Am I right? Could you maybe
Yeah.
explain what it is for people?
Yeah, FTMS is actually is a thing, I guess, in the last 6 or 7 years. I guess it's actually a standard. So it's a standard protocol. So basically, it's a standard that say how the bike, the treadmill, the rower should talk over Bluetooth. So probably if every trainer could be FTMS, QZ shouldn't exist, because the main purpose of QZ was trying to translate custom protocols to FTMS. So FTMS is basically a Bible, so something that you extract how a trainer should talk, and in every single way. So yield grade or resistance, erg zones, how you have to send the power, how you have to send the cadence. So it's basically a standard, an open standard, and that's a good way to to standardize every aspect of the trainer, because it's open, so everyone could join. Everyone could write your own app. Everyone could create your own trainer. So it's amazing. But as we know, a lot of company are trying to close the system and try to not advertise that their metrics to Swift or some other other platform. So that's why QZ exists in the very beginning. So FTMS is just an open standard. It's just how a trainer should talk over Bluetooth.
Right. Right, and I think a lot of people may or may not understand that that a lot of certainly older trainers and aren't FTMS compatible,
Yeah.
and had their own protocols and their own standards, which is why essentially you brought QZ to life, right? Because
Yeah.
they all didn't talk to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's great. I think one thing I notice, and I'm going to share my screen because I think it's sort of interesting. I created a spreadsheet a while back, for users to put in, their configurations and how they use QZ. I thought it would be interesting and maybe helpful for other users to see, what does work, what doesn't work. There is such a variety of, hardware supported.
Yeah. Thank you for this because it's amazing.
Well, it's helpful, I think, maybe to people, especially to others who say, I've got this hardware, I've got that other hardware. Will it work? I think one thing maybe that I would have liked to get more of is people to upload the actual configuration files.
Yeah.
So people could then, knowing there's a working configuration for their system, they could just simply download that and have it all, without having to, kind of put questions up on the board. So it's still a work in progress, and everybody out there, please, feel free to upload your information. I think the link is pinned to the top of the QZ Facebook page. So have a look. It's interesting and revealing in some ways because I see, the vast majority are using it as a bridge. But there's a few using it as standalone, and I want to get into the standalone stuff soon. A lot of people using bikes, but a fair amount on treadmills as well. And as we can see it, this is a small sample. You guys have 17,000 members on Facebook now, and there's only 50 or 60. So it's not a really representative amount, but it gives you some information. Certainly a mixture of Android and iOS users, but a lot of bikes, a few treadmills, and a few rowers. As a little sideline, I think, and it's important for us to know, or the users to know, and because I have QZ on my watch as well. I have a Garmin watch, and we never really talked about that last time we talked, but you have built apps for different systems.
Actually, there are probably 3 or 4 side companion app of QZ. The most important one, because probably it's the most used one, is the Apple Watch one that give you the possibility to get the heart rate from the watch, but not only that one, but also the cadence. For example, if you are running on a treadmill, and it's I guess I can say it's the only app that can give you the cadence from the watch itself on an indoor run. And
so explain that, because I don't have a treadmill. How does it run?
Sorry. Yeah.
How does it work?
Yeah, because,
how do you get cadence?
Yeah, actually, the treadmill usually that just send speed and inclination over Bluetooth. They are sending on a custom protocol or FTMS, but usually are just sending these two values. So with the QZ app also on their watch, you can, of course, getting the heart rate. But when you are running, so you are moving the arms, when you're running indoor, and so the Apple Watch actually is trying to recording the cadence of your arms and so of your legs. They have something called a fusion algorithm that create a fusion from the accelerometer, the gyroscope, and some other sensor on the watch. So QZ is trying to getting all this information and translating them into cadence. It's actually accurate. Of course, it's an indoor run, so there are some static movements, but at the end, the value is quite right. So the cadence for the treadmill is just the number of steps that you are doing on a minute, more or less like the bikes. Also, another feature of the Apple Watch is writing the workout on the Apple Health system, because if you are an Apple guy, you would like to have all the workout inside your Apple Health database. And this is one of the field where I'm working a lot because I'm trying to mix the possibility to write to the Apple Health also from the iPhone itself, because someone like you, for example, Jan, probably doesn't have an Apple Watch, so maybe they want to write to Apple Health just with an iPhone, for example. So Apple Watch is one thing. Another thing is the Garmin Companion app of QZ. The Garmin Companion app has a lot of feature, actually maybe hidden. Of course, the first feature that gives you is the fact to send heart rate, send cadence as the Apple Watch does. But also another one, another important one, is giving and plus connectivity that is not on iOS because it's an iOS limitation to iPhone. So I'm doing, for example, imagine to have an Ant Plus bike on your gym and you have an iPhone. You can simply connect it because iOS doesn't have Ant Plus at all. But if you have a Garmin watch, you can connect the bike to your watch, actually to the QZ Companion app. And the QZ Companion app is sending the metrics to the iPhone. So actually, it's giving N plus to an iPhone, and it's quite crazy because probably Apple doesn't want to do this because it's a ongoing fight with Garmin because there is always this war ongoing. But actually, you do. For example, there are a lot of techno gym bikes on the gyms that has only N plus, and until now, the user can just record the metrics with a watch, but for example, it can't do a Swift session. In this way, you can do just with your watch and QZ.
I mean, it's pretty amazing. Again, I'm not a big user of the watch app, which is why I'm so curious about it. I have a Garmin myself, right?
Yeah.
And I don't use it for heart rate because I have a heart rate monitor that I use. Yeah, this is quite fascinating. Again, how much? I mean, you've obviously focused on QZ. How much time of your development is spent on the watch apps?
2 or 3 weeks for every app at the very beginning because I started the development with Apple Watch, then Garmin, then also Wear OS from Google, because also there is a QZ companion app for Wear OS, for example, for Google Pixel, Samsung watches, I don't know their names, and there are a lot of fragmentation on Wear OS, but there is a Wear OS app. The QZ app on the watch is, of course, is not something fancy, as you can imagine, because I didn't spend a lot of time on the user interface. It's just collecting metrics and send it back to the phone. And another thing to remember is that I put them on the marketplace for free. So if you have a license of QZ for your phone, you have automatically also for the watches, and it's not so common to give free software right now, so it's important to also to remember also this.
Yeah, I mean, well, as I say, I don't even know if a lot of people even are aware of some of these apps. I mean, again, it's a remarkable little kind of addition you've got, and you say it's for free. So Apple Watch users, Garmin users, and Wear OS. I mean, you've got an app that can clearly do more than just grab heart rate, which is really interesting.
There is also another companion app, but maybe we can talk about this in another session. But it's important because
No, I mean,
there are a lot of.
Let's talk about it because I think it's I actually have an app that runs on Fire Stick, which I'm going. I don't even know what this does, but I have it on one of my Fire Sticks. But it's like
okay. With that done, there are other two companion apps actually, because okay, one of this is the QZ AI companion app, and it's the main target of the app is collecting the timer from the Peloton app in order to have auto sync to the
Yeah.
QZ main app. But also another purpose of this application that probably nobody knows, just little knows about this, is the fact to have the floating window of QZ on another device. For example, imagine to have, I don't know, QZ on your phone, for example, but it's somewhere, it's running QZ. But you have on your TV, on your Android TV, for example, YouTube, and you would like to have also the metrics on overlay. With the QZ AI companion app, you can have the overlay of your metrics on an angle of your screen. You can customize the size, you can customize which metrics show on the floating window. So I guess I don't know if it's used or not, but it was a nice addition. So I guess I don't know how many of the user knows this possibility.
No,
And
well, I mean, that's to say, I have it on Fire Stick, and I've just been confused. I was like, okay, so what does it do? And I think now you've explained it. I mean, I kind of get it. I'll have to try it out. Because I
yeah,
have
I guess
I
the
have an Android.
floating. I don't remember if the floating window is working only on Android TV because Fire OS has some limitation, but you can try and report. But I don't remember actually. Maybe it's working on both platforms. And
Okay.
last companion app, just to tell about the companion side, is the Nordic Track companion app that Al Udel helps me to develop it. Al is a user of our Facebook group, and the Nordic Track companion app is basically bridging the metrics of Nordic Track devices or Proform devices because they have a tablet, a closed tablet, so you can get metrics from Bluetooth or from Wi-Fi. So you have to install the companion app there. The companion is trying to get best as it can the metrics from it and send it back to QZ on your phone. So this is unlocking also all the iFit devices, and there are a lot of users with this.
There is a lot of little apps out there that again I don't know how much use they get or how popular they are. It'd be interesting if anybody has any comments on. I'd be curious to know if you're using it. As I say, I have one on the Fire Stick. I've never really got it sort of working. Never really had a big need, but now I understand it. I think I'm going to give it a go and try and see what I can get going. Which will lead to some other questions later on, because I think there is sort of a bit of a disconnect between all the features QZ have and the information that people get to use it. So there is some, I think, issues there we can talk about. But so we talked a bit about how QZ is used often as a bridging app, and I brought up the spreadsheet there to show people saying, but there are some people, and I suspect more and more people, going to be looking at QZ alone as its fitness app.
Mm-hmm.
And you built in a lot of features already, right? I mean, you've built it as an independent fitness program as much as a bridging app. I want to talk about that because, again, I don't think people are using it probably as much as maybe they should, because there's some really cool features you've built in. Can you explain what QZ can do alone as a trainer? If you want to set either your own training programs or you want to import maps, for example, I don't even know people knows you can do that.
Yeah, the fun fact is I actually started with QZ as a bridge for myself, but at the end, now I'm using QZ standalone, and that's right what you are trying to say. So yeah, QZ has training programs for both treadmills, bikes, elliptical, and rower directly standalone. So you don't need to add another application to do so. Maybe it's better to show my screen just to show something to the users. Let me.
Yeah, please
Okay.
do. Have a look.
Yeah. Okay. 1 second. Okay. This is my. Are you getting the screen? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I got it.
This is my, of course, my dev environment. So I'm just starting QZ. So I was saying that, yeah, QZ is a standalone apps also, so it has the possibility to run training programs. Training programs are something like, most of the user probably knows very well Peloton. So in Peloton, for example, you have classic rides, but you can have also erg zone rides, so powered zone rides. And QZ itself, you can do the same. For example, if you are going from the left sidebar, clicking on Open Train Program, you can see the preloaded program, but they are just an example of what you can do, because QZ is compatible with the Swift workout object. That are the file is actually a standard for the workout files, but also there is an XML format for QZ that you can write your own program, so you can create a customized workout for yourself. And let me try to show you how it works. So you select a workout. There is a button to open another file from your disk or from your phone. So the program is engaged now. You have to start the workout, and the QZ is actually writing the requested power from the program to your bike in real time, like it does on Peloton, for example. And you can have a real-time chart with the power that the workout is trying to ask, and also your current wattage. And also there is a chart with your heart, so you can monitor your heart.
Now, is it during this time, is QZ changing the resistance to match?
Actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Sure. Yeah. So the QZ engine that works already with Zwift and Peloton also works it by itself. So QZ is writing directly the target wattage and the target resistance directly by itself. So it's actually is a standalone app. And there is another thing that I love to do when I do my workouts, and is the ability to open a ride that I did before. For example, there are some on the preloaded on the QZ. Okay, let's try, for example, this one. Okay, so you load it, you start the workout, and you can have QZ is changing the inclination on your bike, on your treadmill in real time following the path. But the nice thing is that you can see the real time maps. Let's load the map. Okay, so you can have 3D map of your workout. So you can see actually where you are in real time with the chart of the hill. So at the end of the workout, you will have also a Strava, for example, Strava activity with the map, the real map, and all your statistic, for example. So it's like maybe some of our users are friendly with Ruby or Kinomap, and actually it's basically the same. But also I would like to add another thing, and is if you have a GPX file, that is, GPX is just a route that you did outside. So GPX is the file that you are recording with your Garmin watch or your Apple Watch or similar. So if you have a video of your workout, let me load one. If you have a GPX with a video of a workout, you can have also real-time video. So you can have actually, and what maybe the user don't know about this, it's that it's completely free. You don't have to pay any fee for this because it's built in QZ. and the video is synced with with your speed from QZ. So, for example, let me try to slow down. Of course, I'm simulating it. Now it's going downhill, so it accumulates some speed. But you see, the video is slowing down because you are going slowing. So the video is actually synced with real speed getting from QZ. And of
Okay.
course, in all of this, you can have virtual gearing with your preset, all the good stuff that you have in QZ, but directly in QZ without any other apps and without any fee.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of videos online with a GPX, so there are free videos like this. And I have to thank you, a Facebook user, for this because he helped me a lot. His name is Bernard Ponemeyer. I guess I said it correctly. I guess it's from Austria, if I'm right. For example, this video is from him. The, he has a lot of video like this that he recorded from outside and is sharing on a folder online. So I guess this is one of the coolest feature of QZ. For example, that probably most of the users don't really know about this.
Well, I profess to be one of the users that didn't know you could do video. Now, I was aware of the map situation.
Yeah,
I wasn't aware that we could pull video.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
funny
yeah,
because I've been, or I've joined the sort of Ruby, the root creator group there, where
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they are,
That's
building. It's something very impressive, I have to say. There's no doubt Ruby has something, that's very, very good. This
yeah.
is incredible, though. This is, to me, I'm amazed that you can do this. I didn't know you could. All we need, obviously, the video needs to be recorded with a GPX file embedded into it. So one of the
Yeah,
later GoPros.
yeah,
Um,
exactly, exactly.
and I think I will warn people. I think this is great. The GoPro, the latest GoPro, I think was it the 13 or 12. The one before the latest version doesn't have GPS for some reason,
Yeah,
but the GoPro 11 and 13 do. So, and I
but
think so.
anyway, you can merge the GPX from your watch to the video. You don't
Yeah,
need a, you don't need a camera with the GPS, but you
okay,
can
yeah,
also
that's
merge.
possible too. I mean, if you have the technology to be able to sort of merge your GPX file into your
No,
video,
but you don't need it because QZ is doing this job. So you don't actually need anything, just the video and the GPX,
yeah,
nothing more.
yeah. Okay. So it actually does the merging inside.
Yeah, yeah. QZ is doing this job for you if you don't have a camera with the GPX,
That's
GPS.
remarkable. Everyone's got to try it. I've got to go out and try it. Are the videos? Where are the videos found? Then they're not in the app at the moment.
I can share you if Bernard. I guess Bernard is okay with about this, but I guess I can share the folder that he created, and you can test by yourself the videos that he produced. He lived in a wonderful area in Austria, so there are awesome landscape. There are a magic trip going into his video.
Well, I'll certainly get some videos made up here in Canada as well. Now
Yeah,
spring is coming.
yeah,
There are some nice places. I'll post some with the. So this will be really exciting. Actually,
yeah.
I'm really excited to hear this. So very, very cool. And same with the fitness files. Where do people find those? Like, I mean, you've got some built in. Are they like? Is it just a matter of Google searching some of the fitness
Yeah.
files?
Actually, there are. Let me share the monitor. There are some website about this. For example, Zero Factory is an editor where you can create your own workout. But also there is a website like, for example, sorry, what this one? This one, where you can all the workout from
Uh,
Zwift, for example. So, for example, just
and you can download these files. Is that all it
yeah,
is?
you can also download it. or you can create your own home based on the workout of Zwift.
So I
So
know
you
one
have,
question that people will ask, and is when I download this file, where do they go? How do you get them into QZ?
it's very simple because, for example, when you're trying to download a file, let me try to create a file here, just something stupid, okay? Download the file. Okay, now I'm on my Mac, but it's the same on your phone. Once it downloaded, you can open QZ. Okay, let me stop the video. So now we don't need it anymore. And on the open training program, you can click on other folders. Okay. And also on your phone, okay, of course, the user interface is different, but the behavior is the same. You can go on the download folder and you can see the file that I just downloaded. Just click open. You see QZ is saying, okay, program has been loaded correctly. So you can engage the program. And so this is my workout. So
So
I created just a stupid workout before, but the requested workout that I created is the one in the chart, and QZ is trying to follow that workout. Of
now will
course,
that be
it was
already in the list though, in the quick list that you had
yeah.
before?
Now you have the possibility to add also in this list, and on iOS you can simple copy the file in the QZ file. You can do this by the Files app on the phone. I'm sorry that I can record actually the, the steps because I'm on my Mac, but
Mhm.
there is the Files app on your phone. Every iPhone has a Files app. You can
Right.
click on it, and if you go on the iPhone folder, there is the QDOM Swift folder, and there is the training program for subfolder. And if
Okay.
you put a file there, you can also have in this list. And you can have also subfolder, for example, for ride, for run. So you can create your own groups of workouts.
I see. And that's the same in Android, I assume, as well, right? That's the same.
Yeah, same as Roy. Yeah, yeah.
And,
In Android, there is also an easy way because when you click on other folders and you select a file, QZ is moving to this folder by itself because Google is trying to enforcing the apps to have its own file system, so it's something about security. So QZ is moving directly the file, but the concept is the same.
a lot of users still think it's quite complicated to use. And I think it is. I mean, I've used it for a lot, and there's still features in there that I go, well, okay, I don't know what that button does. So let's address that part first. Is there any changes coming up in sort of the overall user experience on QZ? I mean, it's every time you add a feature, there's another, like, in the settings menu, there's like 4 more buttons that you add, and people going, what do they all do? What's the plan as far as, I won't say simplifying, it's the wrong word, but making it a little bit more user friendly?
Yeah, what I'm trying to do is trying to increase the power of the wizard page because I added the wizard page on the last stable version some month ago. It was nice, but of course it was just a beginning because it just setting some settings for you in an easiest way, but there are also other things that I can try to ask to the user for the first time to check how set QZ for their needs without change every little settings in the in the settings. So there is for sure a lot of things to do there because there is a lot of room for improvement in on that side. And this for sure the first thing that I'm trying to do, but also another important thing that it's happening under the hood is the stabilization of the system because sometimes I'm trying to get the crash report, for example, from the user, because crashing is something very bad that could happen during a workout, because you are not losing the workout information because QZ is saving inside the folder, but you are stopping the workout. So it's something that should never happen. So I'm trying to solve every single crash that a user could have, and this is a very, very long task for me, because there are so many different systems, so many different trainers, so it's
Do
a
you have
huge
any,
task
actually,
of.
on that note, is there any sort of recommended systems on your behalf? Are we better on iOS? Is there more stability on certain systems to others? I mean, I know I've had issues with
Yeah,
Bluetooth and things, but
yeah. The good thing is that every application on the Play Store or also on the Apple Store sends on their own the crash reports. So they are doing by itself. So it's not something that I added to the app. It's something that they are doing by itself. So when a crash occurs, the Play Store or the Apple Store collect this information, say, a user, it's something, of course, anonymous. A user report this crash, and with the contest, a small contest. Actually, there are not a lot of information, but I can try to, bring all the piece of the puzzles and try to understand what was going on. So this is for sure something that I have to address. And also there are other things under the hood. For example, in the last month, I added a new way to log into Peloton, because Peloton asked me to try to enforce on users to don't use the credential directly on the app, but instead using a new way to log into your Peloton ecosystem. From the user point of view, this doesn't change anything, because it's just a button that you have to press once and you are gone. But from my point of view, it was a nightmare, because I spent a lot of times on something that already works, but I have completely to write back from scratch in order to accommodate the Peloton recommendation. And this is a good thing, actually, because Peloton is trying to help me on this. So it's something very huge, something that 5 years ago I couldn't imagine about this, because if Peloton.
I've one comment I'm going to read from Andrew Dorsey, which says, will the app ever be finished? There's always new functionality being added for me. I'm happy to see compatibility with a wide range of hardware and satisfied users. Its future is complete as far as I'm concerned. So will it ever be finished? Is this an ongoing lifetime project?
Every time, I also remember a phrase that I say with my wife 5 years ago, when I was just compatible with my treadmill and the Echelon bikes, and I said, "Hey, Barbara, okay, I just finished this little feature, and and everything will be okay, and we should never develop anything else in QZ, because it will be perfect." After 5 years, I'm actually adding so more stuff every day, and it's a never-ending job, because actually I'm doing this because I like it, because otherwise it shouldn't be in this way. I like it adding the feature because I'm the first user. So I really like adding things, because I really like wake up in the morning and say, "Wow, I have to test this because there is this new piece of software that I have to test and check if there is any bug or so."
Yeah.
No, probably answering to the question, no, QZ wasn't finished at all. So every day would
You
be.
can always tell where people's passions lie, because QZ is a technical marvel. It really is. It's so impressive on the technical level. But it's UI. I'm still saying, man, yeah, I don't think Roberto's that interested in UI design, because that still looks like it's
Yeah,
like, it's like, yeah, it could
yeah.
improve a lot in that area, right?
Actually, there are sometimes some users that say, "Hey, I'm a user interface developer. I can try to help you. Uh, Sometimes I talk with them. We arrived at some point, but never at the point to say, okay, there is the user interface. You can try to add, that is open source, so everyone could join the cause,
Yeah.
adding some new feature or adding, for example, a new user interface. Actually, I did a lot of things about this because QZ also can render web pages. So every web developer could, create the new web interface for QZ, and I will be happy to add it, for example. But actually, I don't have time to create a new user interface from scratch. So
No,
what
I
I'm
mean
trying to do is trying to,
it's absolutely functional for sure. I mean, and
yeah,
I'm surprised that other
yeah,
people haven't jumped into it. Because it's one of these things, like you say, it's open source, and therefore, can require anybody can, add what they need to. So,
yeah,
yeah, I'm hoping we'll see some changes there. It's not that it's bad or anything, but it sort of like seems like there's so many features in there that the UI could do with some kind of overhaul just to make it sort of more cohesive. Um,
yeah.
but on that line, I'm thinking, and where the things lead into the future. I mean, you're passionate about the features. What kind of features do you see coming up? Like, what would you like to say? I'm going to do that next.
Well, this an hard question because what I'm doing right now, as I said, is trying to stabilize everything. So, because there are several months since I deployed the last stable version on iOS, so I'm sending the test flight app version to everyone join the beta program. So right now I'm trying to focusing on stabilize it in order to deploy it. But also I'm adding feature, for example, the workout history would be probably one of the next one. I don't know when, actually, because yeah, QZ is an hobby, so I can have some constraint about the timing of the development. But yes, probably workout history will be one of the next one. And also as I said before, I would like to make some improvement in the Apple Health ecosystem. And also I would like to add the iCloud and the Google Cloud thing in order to for example, sharing your settings from a phone to another. So this is something that I could use the Apple and Google ecosystem to do so. So I don't need to have my server, so I can use the Apple and Google ones. And so probably is one of the features that I would like to add.
So this would mean like taking configuration files from one system on the cloud to another and have the configurations. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do that sort of manually, but it would be helpful.
Yeah. Of course, you can already do because in QZ you have the ability to import and export files, but
Right.
have something out automatically is always welcome.
So there are things. I mean, it sounds like you're focusing on stability, which is great. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting the thing stable. Although personally, I've not had a crash with my system. Touch wood. It's been very stable, which has been great, and that's not true of a lot of software out there. I have to add. So another question, and I think this is important because we did talk about it last time. This is from Nick Poussin, which is the number of users are growing and growing with all good intent. Troubleshooting and resolving issues is getting more difficult. Is there a plan to try and get more backup? Which leads into many sort of potential issues. But yeah, we'll start there. You are you, and we talked about that last time. And last time we talked, you seemed a little overwhelmed, and understandably so. You talked about, what was it, 200 emails before 6 a.m. or crazy stuff. How are you coping, and B, what's the plan to keep this system thriving?
Okay, so one thing for sure is trying to, as I said, help the user with the wizard. So probably the wizard would solve some issues from the very beginning from so if the UI is better, probably the user needs less help from me. Another thing that I'm trying to experiment is the fact to have a bot using AI on GitHub that could collect the information from the previous tickets that there are on GitHub and is trying to formulate an answer to you. And actually, I'm using it since 2 weeks. And today, for the first time, I said the bot answering to the user with the right answer. If you think about how many settings there are on the QZ, the bot is doing an amazing job trying to, give the right answer because that's not easy even for him. But I guess that's probably the way because right now there are more than 3,000 tickets on GitHub. Some tickets are very easy, but other one are something that could long for for weeks or months or even years. So if something like this bot could collect all the information and you can ask automatically, at least try to ask automatically to the user, I think this is a possibility to have, a friend that could answer to your question instead of me. And I think we are very near to this because QZ from itself doesn't have the power to, for example, to hire someone to help me in this job. So uh, I can afford this, but probably AI can. Actually, for example, I'm using a lot ChatGPT for creating my workouts. I don't know if the users know this, but you can create your workouts directly with the AI. So probably that is the way that could help me in this. So that's why every time a user say, "Hey, I have an issue," I am answering with not with send me an email, but create a ticket on GitHub, because creating a ticket, you are create an history for me and for all the community. The tickets are completely open, so everyone could see it, everyone could join to them. So it's important to create a database of all the issues that the user could have. Yeah, do you see this one? A user asked about an issue with the power on Swift.
Uh-huh.
And actually, the bot answered it with the real question and sorry, the real answer. So this one was the real solution to the user issue. So I think it's a beginning. It's the first time that happens that the bot answered correctly, but it's also very, very new. So I guess there is the possibility that it will improve a lot. So I
Mm.
hope it could help me in the next winter, for example.
Yeah, well, as I say, I'm glad you found something to assist you because we were all getting a bit concerned. I think after our last chat that you were up at like 4 in the morning answering emails, which isn't
Yeah.
sustainable in the end. I mean, along that line, I mean, QZ is still really very inexpensive an app to buy. I think like people talk about $6 or whatever it is, $6, probably about the same in euros. Is there any thoughts of like increasing the pricing or getting a little bit more into subscription modeling to keep the system sustained?
Uh, my idea is trying to keep the thing as they are until I will have the possibility to have to pay the system by itself. So actually, there is always a growth on QZ. QZ is always growing from the very first day to till today is growing. So until now, I didn't have the need to increase the fee or adding a subscription because I don't need it. I don't want to be rich with QZ. I just want to be the guy that trying to help the other users. So until the day I can keep this to sustain by itself, I will keep this model. after that, I will have to think, because in the end I can put also my money and my time to this. So
Right.
in a sort way, we have to find a balance, And right now, I have to thank all the contributors on Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee, that they are incredible in this year. So they are really helping me with all these things.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out, for those who maybe don't know, that there is a Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee subscription there for QZ users, and I certainly encourage everybody to be a regular contributor, because it's such an important app for so many people. Well, listen, Roberto, I mean, we've covered a lot, as always. It's always such a pleasure talking to you, and finding out a bit more. Out of these discussions comes, 50 other different questions that people think I should ask. And I'd like to keep this as a sort of semi-regular thing. I mean, it was a few months since we last chatted. I think maybe in a few months more we'll chat again, probably post summer season, because we'll probably all be outside on our bikes or running for the next while, at least in the northern hemisphere. I know everyone in the south is probably going to be hunkering down for their winter, but we'll catch up a little later in the season to find out where we're at and see if you've squashed all those bugs. But again, thanks for your time. I'm sure people will find this useful. I always find it a fascinating insight. And as I say, on Facebook, keep the questions coming. You can always buzz me directly if you want to add some questions to the list. So next time I chat, I have another load of user feedback. But again, thanks, Roberto. Have a great evening out in Italy. And I'm going to hunker down, because I think I see snow out here.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right. Good talking to you again. Bye-bye.